Welcome everyone to today's video where I'm going to be going over all 9 of the SMGs in Modern Warfare and Warzone and rank them from 1 to 9 on how good they are, specifically in Warzone. So I'm going to jump right into it with number 9, which is, to no surprise I assume to a lot of people, the Striker 45. A lot of people know it's bad, but they don't really know why. And I've used it quite a lot, and I can say for sure that the reason why is that two things that contradict themselves quite a lot. Now, this gun's meant to have extremely good range, the best range in its class, but you can't use that range for the main reason that the horizontal recoil is so hard to control with this gun. It's alright vertically, but when you're shooting, it bounces around so much that it doesn't have that good range, because there's no way you're going to be landing all those shots anyway. So what I suggest for this gun is just go with attachments that help that horizontal bounce, like the Commando foregrip. I wouldn't go with the Merc because the vertical recoil isn't that bad, and that's what the Merc helps. And then obviously another negative is the fact it only has a 45 round mag, something which you'll see happens quite a lot with my choices, especially with the next one. And at number 8 we have the Fennec. A bit of a controversial choice, but I have my reasons, one of which is that 40 round drum mag, which is not viable, especially when using a controller in Warzone in anything other than solos, and I would probably suggest also solos unless you're a god at aiming with a controller, which is not a lot of people, including me. I'm not that good at aiming. But all in all, it's not a bad gun. It has a very good fire rate, but there's just so many things that make it bad, like its bullet velocity and range, damage range. It's just, there's so many things about this gun that personally I don't like, and it's one of those guns that you either like it or you hate it, and in this case it's just simply that I hate it. So you can have all your own opinions on this gun, that's fine, but that's what I think. This is the loadout I'd go with, but I don't think I'm the best person to ask for a loadout for this gun, because I have never really tried it out, because I hate it so much. So I'm just going to move on from that. On a bit of a brighter note, a better gun, a gun that I like more, and that I've used today actually, which is the Bison. Now I'm upset because I really like this gun, but it's just so bad that there is no chance that you can use it. I was in a gunfight against the guy. I shot first. He had an AUG, a ground loot AUG. We both had ground loot guns, and we did the same amount of damage. But the thing that lost it for me, and this is against the AUG, is the fact that I couldn't fire fast enough when I pushed him. I pushed him and he got a bullet off before me and killed me before I had a chance to shoot him, and that really annoys me, because this gun is a really nice gun, and it's been a nice gun in other CODs as well. So what I suggest building is building more of an AR kind of gun than an SMG. So that includes rubberized grip tape, the steel barrel, and a sight on it, because you do need that stuff with this gun, because it's not got the best damage. So the one thing you're going to have with it is recoil control, and you're going to have to land your shots, and that's easiest if you have these attachments. There's a few other things that are nice about it. It's got a really nice 64 round drum. It's got a kind of slow fire rate, and in some cases it can have nice recoil. It's not that hard to control, it's just a bit weird. I don't really know how else to describe the recoil, but weird. So that's number 7, the third worst gun. Now moving on to the fourth worst gun. In the 6th spot we have the ISO, or the P90 Mark II. When it first came out I was really excited. It looked like a really great gun, but after using it, it does kind of feel like a bit of a pea shooter, and it's really slow. If the collapsible stock hadn't have been nerfed as much as it was, I'd say this gun would probably be a lot better, because it's got really bad mobility, especially if you're using the integral suppressor and the 50 round mags, which I would think are probably the two things that you definitely need on this gun. You probably could run a monolithic suppressor by itself, but at that point there are better guns for the range. There's just no real reason you could use this gun. I wouldn't even call it fun. It is quite a boring gun. The iron sights aren't very nice either, so you're gonna have to run an optic, and that takes up another one of your attachment spaces. So not a great gun. I used it quite a bit. It's enjoyable in multiplayer, but it's just not a very good gun. Not something you're going to be getting wins with. It's going to be something you're like, oh, the ISO, I haven't used that in a while, I'll try that out. So that's number 6. And now we're going to be getting on to a few of the better guns, the ones that I'll be talking more in depth about. And at number 5, to a few people's surprise I'd assume, is the AUG. Now a lot of people would say it's a great gun and that I've probably put this way too low, but there are many reasons why I put it here. And I'll get into them. One of them is the magazine. Now, it has this ammo conversion which makes it really good, but there's just 2 big problems. You only have a 30 round mag or a 60 round mag. A 60 round drum in fact. And this 30 round mag doesn't give it enough capacity for it to be used properly. Unless you've got God aim, as with many of these things, many of the points I have, unless you have God aim, you can use any gun you want. But if you're just a normal player, 30 rounds is not enough for anything other than solos, and probably even including solos as well. And the 60 round drum decreases your mobility way too much. Like, that aim down sight speed is so slow with this magazine, it's not worth it. Its normal iron sights is another point as well. Its normal one, the one that comes with just the normal gun, is horrible in my opinion. Now this does get better, especially if you have this kind of variant. You can tell it's got the nicer iron sight if the stock is got this like triangular prism thing on it, right? What this does is it just cleans out the iron sights a bit and makes it easier to use. And it's a nice gun, but just like with the Bison, it fits more in that AR category where you kind of just might as well use an M4 instead of it. It's got a nice TTK, but it's just in that place where it doesn't really need to exist. There are guns that can do everything that it can do, but better. So it's one of those guns that you just try out if you haven't used it in a while or you're a bit bored. And I have to say, at that, it is a very nice gun. It's fun to use. It's a really enjoyable gun. It's well balanced if you do want to use it as well. It's not one that you're just going to be let down by, but it's just not really got a place. That's the only problem with it. So I'm going to move on from the AUG to number 4, which is the Uzi. Yes, the Uzi in my opinion is better than the AUG for a few reasons, and there are more positives than there are negatives now. A few seasons back, we got the new barrel and the new ammunition, and these things make the Uzi worthy of its spot. It does decrease your mobility a bit, but the recoil control is tame enough that you can run a no stock on this. That's something that you should be doing. If you're running the Uzi, it's got great mobility, so you want to take advantage of that, especially if you're running meta things like the monolithic suppressor and the Merc foregrip. Then you only have one more spot realistically if you're taking the barrel and the ammunition, and I'd suggest going for something that's going to give you that added mobility, because without it, as you can see, the mobility is not very good, especially if you could add a tac laser, but I really think that you could pull off doing a no stock with this gun. And if you set it up like this, or if you can spare an attachment, you could even spare probably the barrel just to get sleight of hand. But even so, it's got a pretty good reload speed. So in general, I love the AUG. The AUG, oh my god, I love the Uzi. It's really nice. And if you ever get a chance, definitely try this gun out if you haven't. Please, it is really good. I've had many good games with it. And all of those games I enjoyed. They were never just found myself sitting camping just shooting at anyone that passes, because you're gonna have to push with this gun. It's not good if you don't push because of the high mobility. So that's the AUG. Now moving on to the top 3, the big 3, and you know which 3 guns are left, and I assume you know what order they're going to be in. Coming in number 3 is the P90. The gun that got me my first solo win all those years ago. But realistically, it's a good gun. There are many different formats you can use. I've never stuck to one variant of this gun. I've tried the different barrels. I've tried it without an underbarrel, with an optic. All of them worked. There's no way you can build this gun that it's gonna be terrible in Warzone. And that's just what I love about it. It's such a versatile gun. You get those 50-round mags, so you have that extra bit of equipment to use. Sorry, not equipment. You get that extra attachment. The fly strap is something that you don't really see on many other guns. Sprint to fire speed, not something you see a lot in stocks. So you don't see it used that much. But I really like the fly strap. So I don't really have a specific loadout for this gun. What I'd suggest is definitely taking this barrel. I wouldn't say it needs an underbarrel, so the only two things you really need are the barrel and the stock. The fly strap and the retribution are the two things that I'd say you have to do that. Apart from that, it's your own freedom. It's up to you to decide, but it's a really nice gun, and it's definitely almost meta worthy if it wasn't for the next two that I'm about to mention. And in number 2, one that is very close to my heart, and probably my single favourite gun in the game, the MP7. And there are many ways that you can build this gun. I have tried all of them, and I cannot tell which one I like better. So what I would suggest is 60-round mags, and that's it. I have tried it with different things on every other part of this gun. It works with no stock because the recoil is so nice. It works with an underbarrel and without the barrel, or with both, or without either. It works so well with anything you put on it, and that's why I love it so much. I'm the kind of person that can't stick to one thing for a long time, so this gun is perfect. And I'm sure you've used this before. If you haven't, then you better try this gun. And look, realistically, it is just a really nice gun, and if the MP5 ever gets nerfed, I assure you this will be the perfect replacement, if not Cold War guns, when they come out. But seriously, it works perfectly with a sniper. If you build it right, it can work with a AR. It's almost meta worthy. And I don't have anything more to say about it. I think it speaks for itself. It's such a nice gun, and that's at the number 2 spot. And obviously, as you've seen in literally every YouTuber's video, at number 1 is your MP5. It's an amazing gun. I didn't like it much at first because I hadn't really got the recoil patterns down and I didn't really know how to use it. But once I realised that you didn't really have a choice, it is really simple to do well with this gun. You aim and shoot and you kill someone so quickly. It's got amazing mobility. It's got an integral monolithic suppressor, which is way better than the normal one. Anyone who uses that, rethink. The Merc foregrip. Foregrips, there are many different foregrips you can use on this. I just use the Merc foregrip for consistency throughout my SMGs. That's literally the only reason. I've used the Ranger before. I can't tell the difference between the two, apart from the fact that you get a bit of extra hip fire accuracy with a Merc. A slight negative is the fact you only get 45 round mags, but you kill so quickly that it's never really mattered to me. I've never got to the point where I've run out of ammo on my MP5 and the guy is either not dead or I'm not dead. So that's perfect, and because of the monolithic integral suppressor, you have the extra attachment slot to have sleight of hand. But I'm sure you've all seen that loadout before, so there is not much more to say about that. And all I can say for now is thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and have a very nice day.